This is KGW News at Sunrise.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for getting up with us on this Saturday morning. I'm Tim Gordon. This morning on Sunrise, here we go again. Doctors are worried about another COVID surge, why they believe the Omicron variant will only make things worse. Plus, grocery workers on the picket line. We talked to some of the Fred Meyer and QFC workers on strike now and see if the move has impacted stores. But before we get to all that, let's check in with Chris McGinnis for a quick look at the forecast.
Good morning, Tim. Let's give you a quick look at downtown Portland from our Rose City sky camera. The Morrison Bridge lit up in some festive colors there. Right now it is cloudy. We've had some sprinkles overnight. Last check at PDX, the temperature 41 degrees, and elsewhere across the region right now, 40 Scappoose, 45 Beaverton and Hillsborough. And the big picture across the state, it's a little colder east of the mountains this morning. Baker City at 28, Rome, woo, that's cold at 12. And Central Oregon right now waking up to temperatures in the mid-30s. All right, the plan for today, your Saturday, lots of cloud cover. The showers become more numerous as we go through the day with temperatures inching into the upper 40s. I've actually got Portland topping out at 53. Expect a solid shot of rain and an increasing breeze late this afternoon with temperatures at 5 o'clock around 50 degrees. I want to show you real quick a snapshot of Futurecast here. This is late this afternoon at 4:30. An intense band of rain pushing through the metro area. This is a cold front on the other side of which snow levels drop rapidly. And I'm going to explain what that means for the valley forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Tim.
Today, I'm calling on 1 million Oregonians to step up and get their booster dose by the end of January.
Now, we start this half hour with a call to action from Oregon's governor as Omicron bears down on the state. The latest forecast from OHSU has the variant spreading fast and overwhelming hospitals in just a few weeks. Omicron is here, and it is poised to hit Oregon hard. That was the message delivered at a Friday news conference led by Governor Kate Brown.
We only have a few weeks to prepare before Omicron hits our communities and healthcare systems in full force.
The governor noted that it was a year ago this week that COVID vaccines were first administered here. And a year later, we face a second holiday season with the virus surging. OHSU's chief COVID forecaster expects we will follow countries like the UK and Denmark and see Omicron cases double every 2 or 3 days, quickly overtaking Delta as the dominant variant.
We can expect a surge in Oregon hospitalizations by mid-January, with infections that begin sooner than that. Combined with its heightened transmissibility, we expect Omicron will generate a large increase in the number of Oregonians who will become severely ill and likely need a hospital bed.
Dr. Graven did say that while Omicron may be the most transmissible yet, it does not appear to be as deadly as Delta. But just by sheer speed and volume, it will be hard to handle.
The OHSU forecast is telling us that a big wave is coming, and it threatens to be bigger than any wave we've seen before.
At its worst, Omicron could cause more than 3,000 to be hospitalized in Oregon at a peak in early February, compared to Delta's peak of 1,200 last September. But with a push of people getting vaccinated and boosted, the Omicron hospital surge could be closer to 2,000. That's why Oregon will focus on boosting the elderly and most vulnerable, and then move to get 1 million boosted in January.
The science and data are clear. Vaccinations are the strongest line of defense we have against COVID-19. And the preliminary research shows boosters provide a critical layer of protection against the Omicron variant.
Any way Oregonians can help themselves will help their communities and an exhausted healthcare system that is still short on hospital beds and staff dealing with the Delta variant.
To be candid, this feels like another gut punch, particularly for healthcare workers who've been stretched truly beyond their limits.
Now in Washington, Omicron COVID cases are doubling every 2 to 3 days in King County alone. That's according to new data from the University of Washington's virology lab. About half of the tests the lab has been getting back are positive for the Omicron variant. Researchers say it will likely be the dominant strain in Washington in just a matter of days. Well, 200 COVID cases are now being tied to several wrestling tournaments in Washington. That's up from the earlier estimate of about 90 cases. The tournaments were held on December 4th in Lacey, Sumner, Puyallup, and Yelm. Teams from almost a dozen counties participated. That includes Clark County, which says it has 32 COVID cases now among 5 local schools from those events. However, it did not specify which schools. Clark County has put a pause on wrestling in the meantime. Now, the State Department of Health has also released new safety guidelines for high contact sports, including frequent testing regardless of vaccination status. Several Oregon counties have also canceled their wrestling tournaments this weekend. Amidst the pandemic, Portland Public Schools is proposing giving students an early release date once a week. The idea came from negotiations with the teachers union. The union wants teachers to have more planning time. They actually propose sending students home 1 full day a week to learn independently online. But PPS said that would result in kids having too few classroom hours. In a letter to parents, the district says it proposed this weekly early release option for grades K through 8. In addition, the district would give teachers 3 full planning days in the school year, but add an additional learning day to the end of the year. No decisions have been made yet, and negotiations are continuing. Well, the ACLU of Oregon has filed a lawsuit against the Newburgh School District and 4 school board members. The suit was sparked by the board's ban on political signs and displays. It asks the court to stop the district from enforcing the ban. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of a district employee who had a sign in her classroom saying, "Be known," over a rainbow background. The suit argues the sign is free expression protected by the Constitution. The sign ban started a series of controversial moves by the Newburgh School Board, which included last month's abrupt firing of the district's superintendent. And now 2 people on the Newburgh School Board are facing a recall. Petitioners have gathered enough signatures to trigger an election. Director Dave Brown and Vice Chair Brian Shannon could be recalled. That election is scheduled for January 18th. Well, community members, activists, and other union workers came out to support striking grocery workers. This was at the Fred Meyer in the Hollywood district. The rally was organized by the Portland Democratic Socialists in solidarity with striking Fred Meyer and QFC workers. The group tried to discourage customers from shopping at the store. That strike started early Friday morning. KGW's Mike Benner has the story.
Fred Meyer's green has got to go. Late Friday morning outside the Hollywood Fred Meyer, a picket line of employees fed up over wages and benefits they say aren't competitive.
What we have here is an unfair labor practice strike. We have members at this corner, at that corner, and at every other entrance we can find.
Miles Ishaya of United Food and Commercial Workers Local 555 says Fred Meyer and QFC workers walked off the job at 6 a.m.
Do you know how many walked off the job?
I don't know that off the top of my head right now. This strike affects 7,000 plus members, though.
Those thousands of members, Ishaya says, have been working through a pandemic and deserve better compensation, as well as support from the community.
We would strongly urge the community to not cross our picket line. You can shop at Safeways, you can shop at Albertsons, those are union, all in the whole state of Oregon. But you know what? Do not cross the line.
The top brass at Fred Meyer and QFC are calling the decision to strike reckless. They say they're proposing a $36 million investment in additional wages and $30 million in annual contributions for health care benefits.
My heart breaks for our associates right now because this disruption by the union really is coming at the worst time of the year. Our associates and their families need their paychecks. This is a time that it's hard on everyone, and I can only imagine the anxiety and the stress this is causing each of them. So we want to get everyone back to work. Quite a few did show up for work today, and we are open.
Back at the Hollywood Fred Meyer, I walked past the picketers to get a look inside the store. It was business as usual. Checkout lanes were open and staffers were stocking shelves. There were also plenty of customers. This man was one of them.
Getting up to date and supporting unions when they're trying to work for fair wages and fair practices, yes.
David Shapiro educated himself about the strike, but only after doing a little shopping. He's now pledging to avoid Fred Meyer stores.
They should probably give him a higher wage. That's what I think.
These employees think so too. And as you can see, they're willing to fight for it.
These members deserve to be paid what they're owed.
All right, you may be wondering how long this strike will last. We're told it will end at 12:01 a.m. Christmas Eve morning. That's unless a deal is struck before then. But as it stands right now, there are no new bargaining sessions on the calendar. Reporting in Northwest Portland, I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
All right, still to come. Timber stronger than steel and earthquake resistant too. In about 2 minutes, the state's push to mass produce it.